Is Apple's new MacBook Pro M5 base unit powerful enough to do serious audio production work? Stick around. I think you're going to be as surprised as I was. So here's a little background. About 4 years ago, I decided to buy a new music production system. So I went with a MacBook Pro M1 Pro Max with 64 gigs of RAM. And let me tell you, it has been a complete powerhouse. I've had 300 track sessions with dozens and dozens of plugins. It's never choked. It's been a true champion. And I've also always had a secondary MacBook, usually a MacBook Air that I use as kind of like my day-to-day carry, right? And sometimes I'll put Pro Tools on it or some different things or Final Cut or something just so I can use it as an auxiliary editing station if I happen to be traveling or whatever I'm doing. So recently, when the new MacBook Pro M5 came out, I decided to trade in my MacBook Air M2, mainly because I wanted those extra ports, the HDMI port, the extra Thunderbolt port, a little more power, and I was curious about the M5 processor. Well, it became clear to me in using it after a few weeks, it was so fast, it was so smooth. So I put Pro Tools on it because sometimes I'll take sessions out and I'll just do some light editing. And obviously on the MacBook Air, I had limited power to really work. What I noticed was when I put Pro Tools, I use Pro Tools Ultimate. When I put it on the MacBook Pro M5, and we're talking about the base unit here, the $1,800 unit, it was so smooth. It just opened so smoothly. And I was like, wow, this is a powerful computer. I started adding more and more plugins. I started adding more and more instruments, and it was performing really well. And it got me thinking, could this thing be more powerful? Could this $1,800 computer be more powerful than my 4-year-old $4,000 MacBook Pro M1 Pro system with 64 gigs of RAM? And I thought there's no way, right? But I got curious. And so I decided to compare them. I decided to take sessions, identical sessions, load them into each, and take a look at how each computer handled them. And I fully expected the M1 the M1 Pro Max to kick the ass of the M5 with 64 gigs of RAM. I mean, I just expected it to be a no contest. And I was really surprised at the results. I mean, we're talking about a $4,000 system compared to an $1,800 system in a span of just less than 4 years. So I did not do like a Geekbench comparison. There are people out there that are way smarter than me that could do that way better than me. But what I did was a real world comparison. I took the same sessions. I loaded them into both computers with the same audio interface. I use a Avid Carbon. Everything as equal as possible. Even the same audio drives, the same sample drives, everything the same. The only difference being, for obvious reasons, the computers are on different operating systems and different versions of Pro Tools. And the reason for that is the M5 MacBook Pro is brand new. It ships with the newest operating system. My other system, if you've done any kind of real work in production, music production, video editing, I think you just don't upgrade a lot willy-nilly because it can really cause chaos. And if you're on any kind of deadline, an upgrade can really derail you, right? Whether it be a software update or whether it be a plugin update. So on the M5 MacBook Pro, the new base model, I'm using version 26, Mac OS Tahoe. and I'm using Pro Tools version 2025 12.1. On my old system, which is the M1 Pro Max, I'm using Mac OS Ventura 13.7.6 and Pro Tools version 2024 10.2. Now, I understand that this can play a part in the speed test. So again, this isn't supposed to be super scientific. This is just a guy going, hey, I got a new computer. It seems really fast. Is it really faster than the one that costs more than twice as much that I just bought a few years ago? So that's what I wanted to find out. So I set up a few simple tests. The first test was I loaded 500 stereo audio tracks into a Pro Tools system into both machines. And I added one plugin, which is my favorite channel strip, the AMEC channel strip, which I'll show on the screen. So this is 500 tracks, stereo tracks, with an AMEC channel strip on each track. And take a look. The sessions are playing side by side. You can see right away the M5 is handling this session much better. You've got the same amount of cores, and it seems to be kicking the M1 Pro Max's ass in a small way. Now, you're going to notice that with this particular session, or all the sessions, that the memory is more efficient on the M1 Pro because I have 64 gigs of RAM. There's 24 in the M5 Pro. So it's not a 16 gigabyte RAM. I did upload it to 24, so I guess I shouldn't say base unit, but really the RAM becomes inconsequential in this particular environment. So you could see from that graphic, and we'll just look at it briefly again, with 500 audio stacks and 500 plugins, the M5 Pro base unit is handling this session better than the M1 Pro Max, $4,200 system. So that was surprise number one for me. So number two, I took 125 stereo tracks and I loaded the same AMEC channel strip, but I added the Avalon, the UAD Avalon channel strip, which I love. It's such a great plugin, but it's kind of a pig. I mean, it's a resource-hungry plugin, and I'm using the native version. There's no UAD hardware here. So I wanted to see how each computer would handle that. Well, let's take a look. Same situation. The M5 Pro base unit, MacBook Pro, is handling those 125 stereo tracks with two fairly CPU-hungry plugins. Well, the AMEC not so much, but the Avalon's very CPU-hungry, and handling it much better. I mean, you can see the results there. Again, huge surprise to me. An $1,800 computer versus $4,000, $4,200, whatever it was a few years ago. So this is surprising, but it's also encouraging because you can get this base unit MacBook Pro M5 for like $1,800, and if you shop around, even less. And it is plenty for some serious music production. I'm talking about like 95% of you would never need anything more than this. The only people that are going to need something more than this are maybe people that are rendering giant videos or doing crazy, Atmos sessions or something. But for the average producer, I mean, you can get into this computer for under $2,000 and do serious audio work. So aside from Pro Tools, I also have Logic, and I wanted to compare an Apple program on these two systems. So I brought in Logic, and I brought in the factory demo, and I'll put the name of it up there. It escapes me right now. And again, the results were the same. If we take a look, the M5 Pro handles this stock Logic demo better than the M1 Pro Max. Now, some of you might be going, well, no shit, dummy. It's 4 generations later, but it's come such a long way in 4 years. I mean, to say that this base unit MacBook Pro M5 is kicking the ass of a system just built 4 years ago that I spent way more money on is pretty extraordinary to me. So not only did the base unit MacBook Pro M5 handle everything better and was more efficient, it was smoother. And I can't get over the processing power of this computer for $1,800. Now, where I read in my research that the M1 Pro Max could do better is when exporting files. Now, I'm just exporting audio, right? If you're exporting, 4K video, 8K video, it could be completely different. And again, this is not a scientific geek bench comparison. This is just a real world audio producer comparison. So I did export these sessions on both computers, and the export time was almost identical on all three of these sessions on both computers. So the M1 Pro Max didn't even exceed my expectations there. The M5 just killed. So, the bottom line is, this is an exciting time for producers and for remixers and video people. And if you're a serious video guy, I can see going beyond the M5 Basic and going to the M5 Pro or the M5 Pro Max. But man, for the kind of stuff that I tested today, it's just not necessary. You'll never exceed the power. Base unit, Apple Macbook Pro M5, solid computer, man. Handling multiple tracks and plugins, much better than my expensive system built just 4 years ago. Don't spend the extra money if you don't need it. Maybe if you're doing 4K video, 8K video, you can justify, getting the heavier processors. But I'm telling you, for 95% of you, this is going to be more than enough, and it's great value, and I can't recommend it more. So in any event, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this content, please give me a like, maybe even subscribe, and leave your comments. Let me know what you think. What's your experience with the M5? If you've used one, tell me what you think. And I'd be really curious to know. So listen, thank you so much for watching. Be good and make music.